Coach, I know you've answered this question 100 times, but I ask it again. Talk a little bit about Georgia Tech and coming into the ACC.
Well, should we make it a short one or a long one? I feel like deep down that this definitely helps Georgia Tech, the overall athletic program. And I think in return that the Georgia Tech in the city of Atlanta will help the ACC. So I think it's a tremendous marriage, and in the period of 10 to 20 years will be just great for everybody.
What kind of adjustments does your team have to make now, not only in just coming into this league, but also, say, in intensity and rivalries?
I think the big adjustments that we must make at Georgia Tech is overcoming the fear and overcoming worrying about what other people say that we're not good enough, or it's the inference that they're lesser people than what they're playing against. Now then, it's difficult sometimes for us to face reality and to accept like the Maryland center 7'4". Jaminski's a great basketball player at Duke, and the King youngster at Maryland is a super athlete. It sort of hurts our egos to have to admit, and that the coaches are probably better than I am to admit that maybe they have the jump on us. But this worrying thing, I was talking with them today about it. You see, if we worry all day and die tonight, we've wasted a whole day. You don't worry about it. What you try to do is to improve each day in each game, and then that's how we're judged. It's the way we're judged in life. That's the way your boss judges you. You may start off with a bang and then end up going falling flat on your face. But what to me the big thing in life and in basketball, whatever, is where you start off and just keep improving and add some beauty to whatever you're involved in. And I think that these youngsters are going to add some beauty.
Okay, I know you lost 3 really solid ball players from last year's squad. Talk a little bit about this year's team and how you're compensating for that.
Well, that's another difficulty of Georgia Tech, in that of the loss of these people. We coaches looked at our youngsters coming back and what we had coming in. We had 6 new youngsters coming in out of a squad of 13 or 14. So that's all new to them. They're all-stars in high school, and they get into college, and then they go up against Samson, and they're not all-stars, are they? So this newness, we changed our offense to try to fit our personnel, and this has been really mental toughness to be able to learn it to where it'll become second nature. But we still think down the line it's going to fit our personnel better. Playing 7 new teams in the conference where they only have to learn one team. Maryland has to learn one new team. That's Georgia Tech. We've got to learn all 7 of them. We can tell all about Lefty to our kids and about their ball players, but until our kids have experienced that, it's new to them. So all this newness is it's difficult to overcome, plus the fact that there's a possibility that the coaches are better, and there's a possibility that these other teams are more established and feel more at home. And it isn't overcoming, it's just accepting reality and then going about our business and getting a little bit better and a little bit better. If you improve just about that much every day, at the end of the year, you've improved that much. And I'd like to grow that much when I was that high. I always wanted to be 6'4", and I got to be 6'3.5". The Wawa Jones was 6'4", you see, and he was my idol, and I never did make it. But I hope we try to make it mentally.
Talk a little bit about Norton.
Horton. Lenny Horton, super young man. He's a very silent leader. He's not a great shooter, he just scores. He's not a great jumper, he just rebounds. He's not a great passer, he just makes the pass. He's not quick on defense, he's just in position. He's a very silent leader. If I had my preference, I wouldn't trade him for anybody, but I would like for him to be a little bit more vocal. But that's not his style. Brooks Steppe, he's been trying to prove to the world that he's a good athlete. He is a good athlete. He's had he and I had a hard time getting along with each other. Although I think he really likes me and I like him, has made leaps and bounds. He's about 6'4". God gave him a good touch and he's worked on it. He's getting better defensively. He's just a super youngster. So this ball club is better than they were yesterday, and we were better than we were the day before. Now, how long we can keep this improvement, I don't know. But if it keeps improving, this is going to be will definitely be the most enjoyable year of my life to date.
Super. Coach, thank you very much.
That's your
Out of left field tonight. Yeah. Rolling Bill, Bob?
Yep.
Quickly, could you give us just a capsule of the type of ball club you expect at Maryland this year?
I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. Right now, we've played one game against the Yugoslavian team, which is supposed to be a pretty good team, and we beat them. So I thought we played very well in that ball club. We're going to have a small team. Buck Williams will probably be our center, who's only about 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", and then Albert King and Ernest Graham will be our forwards, and I guess Albert's 6'6", and Ernest is 6'7", and then our guards are not extremely big either, but we'll be quick up front. Our guards are not that quick, but I think we can press people probably with our front court people.
How's Owens look at center? Tell us how you like him at center compared to forward.
Well, you know, I think Buck is, he's one of the most unusual athletes I've ever coached. This year he ran a mile in 4:42, I think it was, and he's 6'8", he weighs about 215, a great athlete. He beats all our guards in sprints, and he can get up and down court. So what I'm hoping is the other centers in the league will have a hard time getting up and down the court with him, and he doesn't back away from anybody on the boards. Against the Yugoslavians the other night, they had I think a 7-foot center and a 6'11" forward and a 6'11" forward, and Buck out-rebounded all of them. He had 16 rebounds in the ball game. So I think Buck Williams can play as big as any center in the country, and he also had 27 points in that game. So I'm really excited about Buck being our center. And then, you know, we also have another kid, Taylor Baldwin, who's about 6'11", who's done an excellent job for us in preseason, who can play center too if I want to move Buck over to forward where he played last year. So I think Buck Williams holds on any center in the country.
Lefty, what improvement do you see coming from the other folks such as Albert King and Ernest Graham, Manning, Morley, and Jackson?
Well, I think the biggest improvement on our ball club is experience. Last year we were playing a lot of freshmen, sophomores. This year we only have one senior again this year. That's John Billings, who probably won't play that much. But we're playing juniors and sophomores as opposed to freshmen and sophomores last year. So I think, you know, experience is very, very important. And I think, you know, Greg Manning, for example, has more confidence as a junior than he did as a sophomore. He should have anyway. And same thing with Ernest Graham and Reggie Jackson and Dutch Morley. And some of our people that were freshmen last year have more confidence. They've been around the league once, and I think they'll play better. I certainly expect them to.
Let me ask just about a couple of things. Do you see the league as having anything to prove from those 5 losses on the one night last year in the tournament? But recruiting was hurt either from that or from the publicity that's gotten around the country about the slowdown game has hurt recruiting in the ACC.
I don't know that recruiting got hurt in the ACC that much. You know, I think it is kind of getting the reputation of being a slow-down league because of all people. You know, Bill, and I'm not knocking it because we've done it sometime too, but you got the Tiger Paws down there in South Carolina, and you got the Four Corners up here in North Carolina, and, you know, so a lot of people are holding the ball, and that is something that's going around. I don't think that bothers recruits, though. You know.
Coming ACC heavy schedule, looking you in the face, do you feel like you're capable now with good speed, quickness, and all?
Well, you know, I feel like I'm capable of beating anybody. I've been coaching long enough to know there ain't nobody going to run over my teams. They never have, and they ain't going to do it this year. And so whenever we play anybody, they better respect us because we're going to kick some people right in the rear. And, you know, if they don't respect us, that's fine. If they do, that's fine, too, because we got a winning tradition here, and we'll always win here as long as I'm a coach.
You defeated Georgia Tech tonight.
Is Ralph Sampson really the answer?
Well, he's a very good player, and I think, you know, the main thing we all have to do is give him a chance to grow up as a basketball player. The toughest thing for us right now, to be quite honest about it, is the fact that he is so good at every aspect of the game. He has a good feel for it, that we haven't given him any specific roles. In other words, said, you've got to play in this area and you've got to excel in this area. We've tried to watch him and see where his strengths are, and he seems to have good overall strengths as far as a basketball player is concerned. Now, the problem with that is if you let him be good at everything and not great at anything. So we're going to have to make a decision very soon about exactly what we are going to let him do. But he doesn't have a lot of limitations. There's no question about that. He does have a lot to learn, but still, mainly strength and learning how to play against bigger and stronger players is the biggest problem he's going to have.
Sir, what's his presence do that would affect the returning players like Lamb?
Well, in most cases, it's certainly a positive thing. He does see the floor very well. He sees players. Obviously, he has a vantage point from where he stands to be able to see things happen, as always with a point guard. If he's bigger, it helps out because he can see more things on the floor. Sampson is a catalyst offensively. He really is. While he can score himself, and he obviously has a very nice touch from the outside, and he has good moves around the basket, one of the best things that he does is pass and move the basketball. So I think he'll really make our perimeter players better players. They'll get better shots. The defenses obviously will be very concerned about Sampson and keeping him from scoring and handling the ball. Therefore, it'll give our other players a little more room to operate.
Is Lamb in a basic different role for you?
No, his role will be essentially the same. Now, most people realize that Jeff was pretty much our postman for the last couple of years. In other words, we moved him in and moved Castellan out to face the basket, which Steve did very well. So, you know, there'll be times maybe that he and Sampson will find themselves in the same position inside there in our flexible offensive situations. But I think that by and large, they'll be able to stay out of each other's way and play very well together.
Let me ask you about a couple of things. One, do you feel this conference has anything now to prove after what happened in those 5 games?
Well, I really look at last year's, you know, that 5-game massacre, as most people have referred to it, as one of those things that happens. I think it would have been just as unusual for us to win all 5 games as I think it was unusual for us to lose all 5 games. Something like 3-2 at that level of competition is probably more to be expected. I think it was a freak thing, and I really don't think it shows any weakness in the conference. I think probably the fact that we had 5 teams there is more important than the fact we had 5 teams there to have a chance to win or lose than the fact that all 5 lost.
Well, obviously it didn't affect you, but I just wonder if you think there's any effect on recruiting, either from that or from the publicity around the country about slow-down games in this league. Has that affected recruiting?
No, I don't think it comes from attention on the slowdown games or anything like that, Jim, as much as I do the fact that the other leagues have just been trying to keep up with us over the years. Now, people say, is the ACC the best league? I run into that all the time in recruiting, particularly in the Midwest, because the Big Ten people are very sensitive about that, as you can well imagine. And I say, well, maybe we're not. But I know that when anyone uses a yardstick, the Big Ten coaches say, well, we're a better league than, they'll always use the ACC as a yardstick, the same way with the Pac-10. I think that we do have a very good league. I don't think there's any question about that from top to bottom. I think the greatest thing we have going for us, though, is the fact that we're in an area where there are no professional teams, and the emphasis is on the college basketball teams. We're all close together geographically. The fans' interest is intense, as well as the media interest, and that's what makes ACC basketball exactly what it is.
Now, would you tell us what you're looking for or expect to gain from Sampson going against Kachenko here?
Well, the main reason we scheduled the game is we felt that while this team will have a lot expected of it early in the year, they're not going to be as good as people expect them to be right off the bat. In other words, in Ralph Sampson's case, it's like a joke the guy tells you, and he says, hey, this is the funniest joke you've ever heard. And he goes on telling you how great the joke's going to be, and then when he finally tells the joke, there's no way it can be that good. Most people have seen Ralph Sampson in film clips where he blocks every shot and dunks every shot or shoots a beautiful fall-away jumper. It doesn't happen that way. He's not that good, nor is our team going to be that good right away. But by the end of the year, we have a chance to be a very good basketball team. The Russian game will give us a very good test. It may show our players where their weaknesses are if they have any doubts themselves as to what we've been telling them. And by the same token, playing against a player like Kachenko, who obviously will be very physical, it will, the thing that everyone questions about Sampson, can he play in a physical game? At least we'll get an answer to that at the ultimate right from the start.
Thank you.
Okay.